Good morning, all. We are discussing the discourse analysis. Discourse analysis is the application of the grammar part which we have studied. In some previous lectures, we have understood the what is a discourse, mode of discourse, then tenor of discourse, and domain. These three aspects we have to discuss in the discourse analysis. Okay, first few lectures were on the discourse analysis and mode of discourse. So, the mode of discourse and its linguistic characteristics of the modes. Mode of discourse, in the sense, in a respect of the medium of communication, the discourse may be either in a written mode or in a spoken mode. We have both of them in our day to day life for different purposes. Many people believe that written language is a standard while spoken language is a substandard, but it is not true. A glance at the origin and the development of any language tells us that written language is an attempt to put the spoken language in a symbols. Spoken language has developed over thousands of years, while written language is a recent phenomenon in human history. Uh, so everything is we have discussed regarding the mode of discourse. Also, we've seen the linguistic characteristics of speech and writing: inexplicitness, lack of clear sentence boundaries, simple structure, repetitiveness, normal non-fluency, monitoring and interaction features, informality. All these are part of the mode of discourse is over. Now we have entered into the the discourse analysis, domain and tenor. Tenor of discourse is what? The tenor of discourse means the relationship between the addresser and the addressee. I will write here very important point, and also I will enlarge this image. Look what is given in this. In the last chapter, we looked closely at the effect of mode on language, and we noticed in particular how speech and writing differ from one another. In this chapter, we shall see how other kinds of language differ from one another, just as we saw how people vary their language according to whether they are speaking or writing. We shall now see how they vary it according to factors such as who they are speaking to whom, in what situation, and what kind of activity the language is being used for. So it is what is meant by the sound. That means the tenor of the discourse means the I will I will try to write answer right here. What is meant by this? This means a relationship a relationship between between addresser and addresser and addressee. Handwriting is not good because I am using fingers for the writing. So, what is meant by this? Who is speaking to whom? According to this, we have the scale of formalities. The tenor of the discourse means the relationship between the addressor and the addressee. This relationship may be very formal or it may be very informal. Legal, official, or technical language is used in a formal type of communication. It does not indicate any intimacy between the addresser and the addressee. But conversation between a husband and wife or a brother and sister will be very informal if we regard these two types as two endpoints of the scale of relationship. There can be various degrees of formality or informality between two persons. This relationship is naturally reflected in the language they use. So you can understand here tenor is nothing but the relationship between addresser and addressee, and we can make the distinguish between formal and informal relationship of these two. If the solicitor is talking to his client, then it is not a formal informal type of communication, it is a formal type of communication. And when husband and wife they are talking, it is an informal type of communication. And if you take these two uh, uh, what you say if you take these two points as a uh, which indicates the informality and formality, then we have different scales of relationships. If we take this as a two endpoints, informality and formality, if this is the two endpoints, then we have some scales of relations of these two, and according to that, we have different scales. The relationship between addresser and the addressee can be expressed with reference to three aspects. Number one, I tell you here. नंबर वन जो एस्पेक्ट्स है वो हम फॉर्मल एंड इनफॉर्मल हो सकते हैं. पहला फॉर्मल एंड इनफॉर्मल. दूसरा एस्पेक्ट्स it is we can take as a polite and familiar. Number three, impersonal and personal. Impersonal and personal. So these are the this is nothing but as the relationship between addresser and addressee, which can be expressed with references. Number one reference, formal, informal, polite, familiar, and impersonal and personal. So one by one we are going to see. But before that, I will show you the notes which you have to study, and I want to also highlight the main points from the notes which is also useful for you because you are doing this entire notes. So I will talk on this. Let's see what is given in the note. Um, let's move to page number 2. Okay, now look the aspects which are given here. Formal, informal. Formal communication always contains complex sentences. Polysyllabic words are used, classical language is used, vocabulary is used. Uh, Investigate, extinguish, decipher. These are the linguistic technique in the writing. Formal type of writers do this. Okay. uh, and informal they use a simple sentence. Very importantly, I will tell you here. uh, for example, if you have wrote a letter, a complaint letter to the shop owner about the orders that you have received from the shop owner. You have ordered a television set and it is in a damaged condition. So the letter that you have written to the shop owner or wholesaler, it is a type of formal type of letter. And the language we use, so the sentence we use is the complex sentences. Complex sentence, simple sentence, the difference is very well we know all the difference, because the forming the sentences is one of the grammatical activity we already have studied in previous classes. Okay, simple sentence and a complex sentence. Then politeness and the familiarness. Respectful terms are used in a politeness. For example, would you be so kind as to, uh, these are the some words or the specific words we use for the to indicate the politeness. अंडरस्टैंड, तो ऐसे पोलाइटनेस के लिए कुछ खास जो वर्ड्स है ना उसका ये यहाँ पे एग्जांपल है फैमिलियर। इसमें वी जैसे फ्रेंड्स में बात करते हैं वैसे ये है, इसलिए इसमें कोई जैसे ये इम्पेरेटिव टाइप्स के सेंटेंस होते हैं, जैसे गिव मी, कैच इट, रन, पिक अप, ऑल दी इम्पेरेटिव टाइप सेंटेंसेस होते हैं उसमें। Impersonal and personal. Impersonal, look, this is, we are talking about the tenor. Impersonal, passive voice, the passive and active voice. Personal is an active voice and impersonal, that is a passive voice. In passive, the objectives come into place of the subject and sentence is formed. So it is a passive. This and here third person noun phrases, for example, the reader, customer. The first person and the second person pronouns I, you. If I make a mistake is a personal, but if I say a mistake is made by me is a impersonal. That is a passive voice. So every detailed information has been included in this. Let's see what is given in this topic, tenor and the discourse. I will read what is given. We shall now illustrate the general effect of tenor by the analysis of two sample of example language. The radio news broadcast, the mode spoken and domain journalism of the two are identical. So in many ways, we might expect the language to be fairly similar. However, tenor of the two is a little different. Both samples of discourse come from BBC Radio News broadcast on 25th of July 1980 and both cover the same topic. However, the first is from the Newsbeat and the Radio 1 news program, and the second from the World Tonight, the Radio 4 news program. Radio 1 is aimed at the young audience primarily interested in a popular music, while Radio 4 is aimed at the wider range of. In the paragraph we are seeing that how to the same news can be differentiated with the help of the writing and spoken domain. Okay, what was the radio announcement? Look, we will go to the direct to the news announcement. दो एक ही न्यूज़ है, दो रेडियो पे आई थी, एंकर अलग अलग है लेकिन कंटेंट सेम है, बट द डिफरेंस इज व्हाट, it is in a terms of the use of the language. See, in number one, what is given? 50 people may have died because of negligence of two major oil companies, Gulf and Total. That is, according to the official report of the explosion in Bantry Bay 19 months ago, when the tanker Betley's exploded, wrecking the oil terminal. Tonight, Total, the owners of the tanker, completely rejected the report, but Gulf refused to comment. From Dublin, Philip Whitefield told us more about the inquiry's finding. The news is about the uh, the explosion of the explosion of the oil. One radio gives this news, another radio look at the second news. In Irish Republic, pressure is building up on the government to take action following the publication of the report of the British judicial inquiry into the Bantry Bay oil tanker disaster last year, in which 50 people were killed. The report found that the tanker in which 50 people uh, the tanker the Betelgeuse owned by the oil company Total has not been properly maintained. It also found that one of the employees at Bantry Bay terminal owned by Gulf was absent from his post and was not able to summon the rescue services which could have saved the lives of those who died. The report has started considerable controversy. A Philip Whitefield report from Dublin. Both the news of the radio broadcast are talking the same incidents. Earlier last year, incident was took place in Dublin, where many peoples have lost their lives because of the explosion of the oil tank of uh, tanker Total. Names are given, but one news and another news comparatively. What is the difference in them? Look, the difference is also given here. An important measure of formality is sentence complexity, as pointed out on this page 137-38. Complexity can be measured in terms of clause structures, non-phrase structures, and location of vertical complexity. तो ये कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी क्या है ना, ये हमें स्टडी करना है इस दोनों एग्जांपल में. ओके, वर्टिकल कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी एंड हॉरिजॉन्टल कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, ये दोनों हम टर्म्स पहले समझने चाहिए थे.